The local government news roundup is supported this month by the National Growth Areas Alliance Emerging Growth Areas Forum. Australia is working towards 1.2 million new homes over 5 years, and growth councils are on the front line of delivering them. It's not just about land release and planning approvals, it's about getting the roads, drainage, schools, libraries and community infrastructure right from day one. And that's the focus of the 2026 Emerging Growth Areas Forum, hosted by the National Growth Areas Alliance on Tuesday the 4th of August at Hume City Council Town Hall in Broadmeadows. It's running alongside the NGAA National Congress. For the first time, council leaders from emerging and established growth areas will come together to share what's worked and what hasn't in managing rapid growth, covering organisational readiness, working with developers, building community trust, and making the case for state and federal investment. If your council is facing rapid population growth, this is a forum built for you. Registration is open now to all local governments. Head to the NGAA website, ngaa.org.au, to secure your place. Coming up, a rate cap overhaul predicted, Ballarat to keep family daycare running, Hepburn names its interim chief, a rotating mayoral model rejected, a councillor suspension stayed pending appeal, an art exhibition sparks backlash, the unrelenting personal attacks behind a CEO's resignation, a 3-month suspension for a South Australian councillor, and secrecy surrounds decision-making about a Western Australian council's CEO. It's time for another edition of the Local Government News Roundup. Hello, I'm Chris Eddy. Welcome to the podcast, which is brought to you with the support of our founding sponsor, the Victorian Local Governance Association, the national broadcaster on all things local government, Symphony 3, simple, connected customer experiences, and from Rath Engineering Development, smarter local government systems built from real, on-the-ground experience. It is Monday, the 27th of July. Good to have you with us wherever you are in Australia or around the world. In Victoria, the state government is reportedly considering overhauling the state's local government rate cap framework. The Herald Sun reported Friday that local government minister Paul Hamer is considering a major carve-out for council wages, allowing local governments to pass staff pay rises directly onto ratepayers. While some suggest the move is an effort to shore up critical union support ahead of internal party leadership pressures, a review of the rate cap has been welcomed by MAV President Councillor Jennifer Anderson. A final proposal could go to Cabinet as early as today. Ballarat City Council has decided to keep running its family daycare service, voting to continue the scheme for the next 3 years with a full review due by the 30th of September 2029. A council review found educator numbers have steadily declined over the past decade, with the program now operating with 3 educators supporting around 44 children from 32 families. Despite the smaller scale, community feedback strongly backed the service, with families highlighting its flexible home-based care, trusted educator relationships and suitability for children who don't thrive in larger childcare settings. The council received 32 submissions during consultation, with many calling the program an important local support for Ballarat families. Janet Dorr has been appointed Acting Chief Executive Officer of Hepburn Shire Council following an external recruitment process. The appointment will run from the 3rd to the 23rd of August as the council continues discussions with the Victorian government about an appropriate decision-making mechanism and the potential for an extension beyond that date. Current CEO Bradley Thomas recently resigned his position after 7 years at the council. The City of Greater Geelong Planning Committee has rejected a proposal for a 2-storey 72-place childcare centre in Leopold, siding with residents despite council officers recommending approval. Councillor Trent Sullivan successfully moved an alternate motion to refuse the permit, citing incompatibility with residential character, inappropriate design and unacceptable traffic impacts. Despite a shortage of local childcare places, the committee determined the proposal failed to meet community need in a suitable location, as reported by the Ballarat Times. At Mitchell Shire Council, a bizarre push to scrap the roles of Mayor and Deputy Mayor has failed. Councillor Nathan Clark's notice of motion asked officers to investigate replacing the positions with a rotating acting mayor model, spreading civic duties among all councillors. The motion was defeated 7 votes to 1 at last week's meeting, with Councillor Clark the only councillor in support. A county court appeal has upheld a destruction order for a dog involved in a serious attack in the rural city of Wangaratta. The dog escaped its property in November last year, roamed the neighbourhood and then scaled a 1.8 metre fence and attacked another dog in its own yard, leaving it needing emergency veterinary surgery. The court also ordered the owner to pay more than $15,000 in costs. The council is reminding residents to secure fences and gates, supervise dogs and keep them on a leash in public. Wangaratta councillors will consider exiting the council's direct delivery of several aged care services at their meeting tomorrow. If endorsed, supported home clients will be contacted, with council set to exit by late September, and drop-in help sessions will run at the Wangaratta Library throughout August. Other programs, including CHSP and Veterans Home Care, would continue while alternative providers are appointed. Darebin City Council has condemned offensive spectator behaviour at the South Melbourne versus Preston Lions match at Lakeside Stadium last weekend. Mayor Emily Demetriadis says community sport must be respectful and inclusive, with no place for sexism, racism or vilification. Football Victoria is investigating, and the council says it supports appropriate action under the rules. In Benalla, the council has pledged to step up advocacy on large-scale renewable energy developments following strong community feedback. A 156 signature petition was tabled, raising concerns about bushfire risks, rural amenity and agricultural land impacts from the proposed Nyoka solar and battery storage project. Yarriambiack Shire has completed 7 new energy-efficient housing units across 5 townships to provide downsizing options for older residents and address local worker accommodation shortages. Brimbank has called on the Victorian Government to expand the planned redevelopment of Albion Station into a fully integrated transport hub. The council says despite rising construction costs and an expanded project scope, funding has remained capped at the original $80 million pledged in 2022. Here's a message from our founding sponsor, the VLGA, about the Year 2 Councillor Professional Development Program. It's been developed with councillor needs, cost and time efficiency in mind. The VLGA is offering flexible delivery options, from fast-paced 1-hour online modules to more intensive half-day sessions that allow participants to take a deeper dive into the key aspects of the councillor role. If you'd like a program designed around the specific needs of your council and delivered in a format that suits your schedule, contact the VLGA. You can also view the full Year 2 Councillor Professional Development Prospectus on the VLGA website. Some welcome news out of the Labor National Conference, where delegates voted to support a new Federation Compact aimed at increasing federal financial assistance grants for Australia's local councils. The Australian Local Government Association welcomed the commitment as a key step towards restoring untied funding, which has fallen to less than 0.5% of Commonwealth tax revenue. The proposed compact would also provide local governments with greater flexibility under the Roads to Recovery program and support expanded service capabilities in areas such as housing, planning and emergency management. In New South Wales, Temora Shire Council has confirmed that a disciplinary suspension of Councillor Anthony Irvine has been put on hold while he appeals the decision. The New South Wales Office of Local Government ruled on July 9 that Irvine be suspended for 28 days and issue a written apology over breaches of the Code of Conduct and the Council's social media policy. But the New South Wales Civil and Administrative Tribunal has now granted a stay, meaning the suspension and apology requirement won't apply while the appeal is underway, and Irvine can continue to perform councillor duties as normal. The full appeal is listed to be heard in November. Council says it won't comment further while the matter is before the tribunal. Meanwhile, the council has formally commenced community consultation on potential special rate variation options. It says it's not made any decision to apply for an SRV and is currently exploring a range of options to improve its long-term financial sustainability. In Tamworth, the council is set to vote on a proposal to establish an open briefing committee aimed at improving council decision-making transparency. As reported by the Northern Daily Leader, Councillor Ryan Brooks' motion follows State Code of Practice changes that restrict elected members from holding informal briefings with council staff. If passed, the framework would require future briefings on upcoming issues to be conducted in legally constituted committee meetings, accessible to both the public and local press. Wagga Wagga City Council will today consider a motion to temporarily pause the eviction of rough sleepers from council-managed land until the end of September. As reported by the Daily Advertiser, Councillor Richard Foley's proposal requires staff to confirm safe alternative accommodation before any displacement can occur during the winter period. Should the notice of motion be endorsed, Council will also advocate directly to state housing authorities and local service providers for a coordinated emergency response. Singleton Council has voted unanimously to lodge a formal submission to the Independent Planning Commission in support of the Hunter Valley Operations Mine extension. The Newcastle Herald reported that councillors highlighted the site's critical role as an economic anchor and employer, while broader transition planning remains underway. The council's submission will emphasise local job security, regional economic stability and long-term land use planning to support eventual economic diversification. A sign erected by Maitland City Council outside a regional art gallery exhibition has sparked backlash, with the artist and the local Aboriginal Land Council calling it harmful and misleading. The Maitland Mercury reports that the sign warns that people who admire the High Street Jocko Graves hitching post could be offended by the display and says council shares that view. But artist Osvaldo Boudet says it undermines freedom of expression and follows what he describes as attempts to whitewash the statue's racist connotations. The council has now formally noted its support for the hitching post, voting to criticise the exhibition, while several councillors and community representatives argue the display is important truth-telling. In Albury, former councillor Murray King has proposed restructuring staff vehicle fleets and commercially leasing Albury Airport to tackle the council's financial debt, according to the Border Mail. The plan estimates that replacing 80 assigned vehicles with a pooled fleet could save up to $2.8 million annually, while private airport operations could clear remaining liabilities. These suggestions come as Council prepares to review operational adjustments that have already reduced its overall deficit to $18.9 million. And Georges River Council has partnered with 4 local universities on a range of skill-building, economic and environmental research initiatives across the local government area. As reported by the St George and Sutherland Shire Leader, projects include youth artificial intelligence and financial literacy workshops, alongside postgraduate research to inform a new nighttime economy strategy. Additional environmental studies conducted with university researchers into urban heat island effects, biodiversity and local flying fox populations will directly guide future municipal planning and land management. Gold Coast City Council Chief Executive Tim Baker's resignation last week followed a deliberate campaign of unrelenting personal attacks, according to a veteran councillor. Councillor Peter Young said in a social media post that Mr Baker was wrongly accused of wrongdoing and described his departure as a very bad outcome for the city. ABC News reported that the resignation came amid scrutiny of major reforms and travel costs, including a report showing $54,000 spent on a week-long UK trip in 2025. An independent performance review of senior executives is still expected to proceed as the council prepares to appoint an acting chief executive at its next full meeting tomorrow. Redland City Council is working with Biosecurity Queensland after a migratory seabird found dead on Moreton Island returned a suspected positive test for H5N1 bird flu. Further testing is now underway to confirm the result. Officials say the risk to human health remains low. but residents are urged to avoid touching sick or dead wildlife, record details if it's safe, and report cases to the Emergency Animal Disease Hotline. And Gympie Regional Council has allocated $3.1 million in its latest budget to secure land at 2 Mile for a new regional sports precinct. Council has entered a 6-month due diligence period to acquire the site. The initial investment will cover the land purchase, concept design and a business case aimed at attracting state and federal funding ahead of the Brisbane 2032 Olympic Games. Tasmania's local government minister Kerry Vincent has issued a stern warning to Hobart City councillors. The Mercury reporting that he's told them to leave their egos at the door amid escalating council infighting. It comes ahead of a closed meeting today where councillors will vote on calling for an independent investigation into Deputy Mayor Zelinda Sherlock over snacks taken from the town hall. Minister Vincent told reporters yesterday that elected members need to stop focusing on separate opinions and get back to serving their community. Pulse Tasmania reported late last week that a blackmail accusation had been referred to police, an allegation councillor Louise Elliott described as a desperate attempt at deflection. Former Hobart Alderman Jeff Briscoe has announced a bid for Deputy Mayor of Clarence Council. Briscoe, who spent 28 years on Hobart City Council, labelled his former council dysfunctional, while praising Clarence as a positive, forward-looking municipality. Clarence Mayor Brendan Blomley welcomed the move, highlighting Briscoe's deep local roots as a long-time teacher on the Eastern Shore. South Australia's Behavioural Standards Panel has found City of Burnside councillor Jane Davey guilty of sustained misbehaviour, directing a 3-month suspension without allowance and a referral to the Civil and Administrative Tribunal. The council said it spent nearly $95,000 managing ongoing legal, consultant and training costs associated with the councillor's conduct. The independent body has also instructed the council to pass a censure motion, while ordering Councillor Davey to issue a public apology and reimburse $1,500. In WA, the City of Kalgoorlie-Boulder Council has passed a 6-point confidential motion regarding a senior executive matter during a special council meeting held to review chief executive performance or potential termination, according to the Kalgoorlie Miner. Mayor Glenn Wilson confirmed the 6-3 decision authorises council executive leadership to endorse a confidential strategic direction and end specific internal matters. The council has declined to publicly disclose the detailed outcomes or potential ratepayer impacts. Meanwhile, the Shire of Cranbrook has appointed a new Chief Executive Officer. Peter Fitchat, an experienced local government professional and CEO, will be moving from the Shire of Dundas in early November. He's been appointed for 3 years and will take over from Linda Gray, who remains in the position until Mr Fitchat's arrival. Catching up now on some stories of interest from overseas. In the UK, residents and campaigners in Birmingham have called on the local council to take urgent legal action against a group attaching unauthorised flags to public infrastructure. This is according to a report from The Guardian. Community members claim the group, known as Raise the Colours, is causing intimidation and community tension, urging the council to follow Oxford's precedent by seeking a High Court injunction. In response, Birmingham City Council stated that unauthorised items are strictly prohibited and will be removed, while acknowledging the growing local concerns. Wakefield Council has voted to scrap its pledge to become carbon neutral by 2030 and will cut its climate change budget by £170,000. Reform leader Carl Johnson says the targets were unachievable and unnecessary, insisting it's not about denying climate science. Campaigners warn the move will quietly dismantle local expertise and action. The council will also withdraw from regional climate pledges and end support for the Wakefield Net Zero partnership. Norfolk County Council's leader says more details will come in due course over the sudden departure of Chief Executive Tom McCabe, according to the Durham Times. Opposition councillors questioned whether any payout was made, but Reform leader David Bick has refused to elaborate, citing confidentiality. Councillors have now appointed Kat Hulat as interim chief executive. They've set up an appointments panel and interviews for a permanent replacement are due to begin on August 3rd. To the USA, and in Georgia, the city of Stockbridge has released details about an independent investigation into 22-year-old Mayor Jaden Williams, according to CBS News. Officials say they're examining alleged misuse of city purchasing cards, mishandling of funds, and sexual misconduct. The City Council has temporarily revoked several of the mayor's administrative privileges, including access to city-issued cards and vehicles, and it's limited his communication with staff. The mayor says he's filed legal action seeking a fair and transparent process. Boston Mayor Michelle Wu is promising tougher protections for cyclists, including more cast-in-place concrete barriers in bike lanes, after a City Hall staff member was killed when a truck swiped their bike. Mayor Wu says the city will audit and restructure the streets department, connect existing bike lanes and push stronger truck safety laws, according to CBS News. And Seattle City Council has approved a new controlled substance law targeting public drug use, including fentanyl. CTV News reported the measure aligns with the new Washington state law and allows police to arrest people using drugs in public if they're deemed a threat to others, while also emphasising diversion and treatment options. The vote passed 6-3, with opponents warning it could revive war on drugs harms. And to Canada, where the Mayor of Vancouver says foreign interference disrupted a City Hall public hearing, prompting an immediate change to how speakers are queued. As reported by CTV News, Mayor Ken Sim alleges some callers phoned in from outside Canada to oppose the city's proposed villages plan, which would increase housing density across neighbourhoods. Under the new procedure, non-residents of Canada will now be moved to the end of the speaker list. Vancouver police are assessing information provided by the Mayor, with the RCMP to be notified if any threshold for political interference is reached. North Bay City Council in Ontario is considering a proposal to allow elected members to recover legal costs incurred while defending Code of Conduct investigations. The draft policy caps reimbursements at $10,000 and applies only when an Integrity Commissioner complaint is ultimately unsuccessful. Councillors will vote on the recommendation at a special council meeting this week. And finally, two Toronto city councillors are pushing to temporarily rename part of a city street to BTS Boulevard, ahead of the Korean superband's Toronto shows coming up in August. The motion also calls for the signs to be lit purple during the visit. City Council is expected to vote on that proposal later this month. And that's your Monday edition of the Local Government News Roundup, episode number 621 for Monday the 27th of July 2026. Any comments or feedback can be sent to lgweeklynews@gmail.com, and you can find out more about this episode, including accessing story links, by visiting lgnewsroundup.com. Our thanks, as always, to our fabulous sponsors who make the program possible. The Victorian Local Governance Association, firstly, the national broadcaster on all things local government. Support also comes from Symphony 3, simple, connected customer experiences, and from Rath Engineering Development, smarter local government systems built from real on-the-ground experience. The Local Government News Roundup is recorded in the city of Greater Geelong, Victoria, on the land of the Wadawurrung people of the Kulin Nation. I'll be back with more news soon. Until then, thanks for listening and bye for now. Support for the Local Government News Roundup comes from Rath Engineering Development, smarter systems for local government, like Red GMS, helping councils manage gravel pits and projects, track quality, test results, blending options and haulage, and know the true cost per tonne from day one. Rath Engineering Development can give you a one-off report that uses your existing pit data to pinpoint the best gravel sources for your next resheeting program or disaster restoration works, saving your council time and money. For local government systems built from real on-the-ground experience, talk to the team at Rath Engineering Development. Head to rathed.com.au to find out more.